In the previous episode of Hong Kong National Security Law Trials and Verdicts, we revisited the turbulent journey of Joshua Wong, the former Secretary General of Demosisto. We look back at his role in the unofficial primary election case, in which he admitted to the charge of conspiracy to subvert state power. Wong was sentenced to 4 years and 8 months in prison. He also faces another charge, conspiracy to collude with foreign forces, a case that is now under judicial proceedings. In fact, within the unofficial primary election case, Joshua Wong belonged to the group that received comparatively lighter sentences. The principal figure behind it all was none other than Benny Tai, the former associate professor of law at the University of Hong Kong. Let us return to June 2019, the moment when opposition to the extradition bill sparked a wave of violence. Hong Kong plunged into months of chaos. Mobs filled the streets, intimidating dissenters, committing arson, and vandalizing property and shops. Amid the turmoil, opposition factions discussed setting up a coordination mechanism to consolidate votes, win more than half of the Legislative Council seats. Benny Tai, together with his associates, reach out to multiple political parties, organizations, and individuals to lobby support. In 2020, he published several articles. On 28th of April, in one such piece in Apple Daily, he proposed the infamous 10 Steps to Mutual Destruction, a blueprint and timetable to seize half the Legislative Council seats, veto all funding requests and budgets, paralyze the Hong Kong government, and force the chief executive to resign. And what would follow? Foreign sanctions against China. The plan was designed to damage, destabilize, or even overthrow the political system, the constitutional framework set out under the Basic Law, and the guiding principle of one country, two systems. Could there be a strategy more cynical, more calculated to ruin one's own home? Then came 30th June 2020. The day the Hong Kong National Security Law took effect. It immediately suppressed the chaos, restoring stability to the city like an anchor thrown into stormy waters. But Benny Tai refused to yield. On 11th and 12th of July, he pressed ahead with so-called primary election. Defiance had a price. In January 2021, Tai and 52 others were arrested, 47 of them accused of conspiracy to subvert state power. Eventually, 31 plead guilty, Benny Tai among them. 14 others were convicted after trial. Sentences ranged from 4 years and 2 months to 10 years in prison. As the ringleader, Tai's starting sentence was 15 years. After reduction for his plea, he received 10 years behind bars, the longest term among all defendants. Was that outcome surprising for a man who repeatedly orchestrated turmoil and challenged national security? Hardly. Looking back, Benny Tai had long acted as the initiator of major political confrontation. Since the beginning, his focus was clear: to exploit Hong Kong's electoral system to provoke confrontation. On 16th of January 2013, he wrote an article in Hong Kong Economic Journal proposing the plan known as Occupy Central. He called for limited, non-violent civil disobedience, occupying the city's central business district to demand so-called genuine universal suffrage. But was that ever about democracy or about dismantling order piece by piece? From that moment, society entered a period of sharp division. The Occupy Central tore at the city's social fabric, opening what many now view as Hong Kong's Pandora's box of political chaos. It was Benny Tai who planted the seeds for a decade of unrest. Worse still, he promoted the warped notion that achieving justice by violating the law, leading young people down a dangerous path of illegality, undermining the very foundations of Hong Kong's future. On the night of 26 September 2014, Joshua Wong, then convener of scholarism, called on students to charge into the forecourt of the government headquarters. In the early hours of 28 September, Benny Tai and the other two founders of Occupied Central, Chen Ki-man and Reverend Chu Yu-ming, declared the start of the occupation. Soon, roads in Admiralty, Causeway Bay, Mong Kok, and Tsim Sha Tsui were illegally occupied. Chaos was celebrated as courage. Disorder was paraded as democracy. But who, in the end, paid the price? The occupation lasted 79 days. By the 15th of December that year, it collapsed and ended in failure. Later in April 2019, Benny Tai was convicted of conspiracy to cause public nuisance and incitement to others to cause public nuisance, among other charges, and was sentenced to 16 months in prison. The negative consequences of his action did not vanish with time. In the years that followed, the 2016 Mong Kok riot, 2019 riots, each were regarded bearing traces of inspiration from Occupied Central. Yet, did Benny Tai change? Not at all. After Occupied Central failed, he launched new strategies targeting Hong Kong's political structure. In 2016, he introduced the Project Thundergo, advocating coordination and strategic voting to help the opposition camp win a majority in the Legislative Council. Then in 2017, he unveiled the Project Storm, aiming to replicate that success in the 2019 District Council elections. To secure a majority of seats, gain 117 election committee votes, and influence the 2022 chief executive election. Yet, these political schemes drew legal consequences. The ICAC charged him with 4 counts of illegal conduct in relation to election expenses linked to the Project Thundergo. In May 2022, he was sentenced to 10 months in prison. Observers widely saw these plans as prototypes of a plot to subvert authority, rooted in the ideology of so-called Hong Kong independence. After all, Benny Tai never truly concealed his separatist ambitions. On 25th of March 2018, during a forum in Taipei, he publicly declared that China consists of different ethnic groups, including Hong Kong, and suggested that Hong Kong should consider what kind of relationship it should have in the future, even hinting that it could become an independent country, or a member of a federation, or part of a confederation like the European Union. Those remarks, he said, embody the idea of democratic self-determination. Could anyone still pretend that was harmless academic debate? Such comments stripped away any remaining disguise. They laid bare his pro-independence inclinations and fueled the rise of separatist sentiment in Hong Kong, drawing widespread condemnation from across society. Then came his final reckoning. His defiant acts and repeated violations of the law left little sympathy behind. On 28th of July 2020, the Council of the University of Hong Kong voted overwhelmingly to dismiss Benny Tai with immediate effect. A scholar no more, but did he reflect? Did he repent? No. He stayed the same course of confrontation until the Hong Kong national security law eventually brought him to justice, sentencing him to a lengthy imprisonment. And so, one chapter closes. In our next episode, we turn to a very different story, that of Tong Yin Kit, the first person convicted under the Hong Kong national security law. Behind bars, he embarked on a journey of profound reflection and genuine remorse. What led him there, and what did he learn? Let's find out together in our next episode. Thank you for watching.